Giant disc-shaped spaceships surround the Earth. We believe they're here in peace, but really, they've come for us. This week we're going to take on one of my favorite shows as a kid, V, and we're going to remake this miniseries right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on Apple Podcasts. Reviews are definitely appreciated. Your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at remakethismovie.right.com. We're also on Spotify. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throw a little bit of humor at it, and then we determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, by the end of this very episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and presented to you in movie trailer form. We are here to tell Hollywood how to remake this movie right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today, you remember him from our The Ring and Transformers episode. He's also a host on the Hollywood Outsider, John Davenport.
Hey, how you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing wonderful. And you remember him... What's that?
I said, that's nice to hear.
No, you get one freaking comment, man. That's it. Shut up.
You remember him from The Room, The Mist, and Kremlins, Mr. Brian Williams?
I come in peace.
That's the wrong movie.
No, that's the right movie.
Oh, yeah, he does say that here. Never mind. I really didn't watch it, ever. I've never seen this movie.
Have you seen V before?
I was distracted by the 10-minute playing of the Star Wars thing.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Oh no, it wasn't even Star Wars.
It was like mild. It was kind of Star Wars, but not enough to like get a lawsuit ready.
If Miles Teller was a Star Wars song, that's what that we had.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but it works. Mind blown. Very, very mild Star Wars theme is what it was.
Well, they played it for like 10 minutes. I think it was the longest running band music I think I've heard in quite a while. So that was kind of funny.
Well,
anyway,
they were trying to make Star Wars for TV, so that's really what they were going for. And if you haven't figured it out yet, for this episode, we are remaking V, the original miniseries. Now, people maybe didn't see it because it's old, and it was rebooted a couple years back as a TV series with Marina Baccarin. But we're talking about the 1983 classic, and I do use the word classic. You guys want to know what V is about?
Yeah, tell us all about it. Lay some competence on us.
Because I didn't watch it either.
Okay. Randomly, that's all lies. We've seen it. Randomly, one day, a gigantic disc-shaped spaceship shows up over multiple cities across the Earth. So there are lots of spaceships. The world is both terrified and hopeful about what these new aliens want from us or what they could bring. Thankfully, Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith are on hand to save us all.
Wait, wrong. Whoa. Pump the brakes. I mean, I know it's the same movie, but it's not the same movie.
Oh, wait, that's the ripoff I was thinking. All right, never mind. Forget that. All right, we'll go back.
It's the 10-hour prequel.
So these ships show up, my bad, and people don't know what to think. The next thing you know, aliens are present, and they look like us, though they have distinctively different voices. They begin to incorporate themselves into our very culture, evoking fascist dictator cultures known throughout history. If you rise up, they will put you down, and many people are on their side. Mike Donovan, he sneaks aboard a ship, and he learns the truth. They are looking to exploit our planet, stealing our resources, and ultimately they're going to use us as a food resource. What? They're going to eat people. He escapes, but is quickly branded a terrorist. At the same time, visitor youth cultures are taking over our young, and scientists are branded as traitors. A rebellion begins to form as a small sect of people begin to realize that the visitors are not actually our friends, and they are determined to get the word out on exactly who they are. These rebels are determined to achieve victory. That's the V that I saw, which Independence Day totally ripped off, but never acknowledged they totally ripped it off. I want to know, what do you guys think about the miniseries V? Do you remember? Because we were all three kids when it came out. Did we all see it when it originally aired?
Yes.
I can actually remember staying up, watching my small screen TV. That was maybe 13, 15 inches or something like that. So, curled up, like just sitting at the foot of my bed, clutching a pillow, watching this series, and staying up past my bedtime, lights off, watching this stuff, kind of being just awestruck with, especially, well, when you see the aliens in their true form, it was just mind-blowing for a 10-year-old.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I remember every Friday night while this was being aired, it's in my little third world country, getting orders of soup pizza and watching this. It was awesome. It was just like, then it moved into the TV series they had for a season, and that was still just as much fun as the movies. I mean, it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. It has, I don't know why it hit me so hard, but it really just did.
It was a movement for me. I was, because you didn't have, at that point, you didn't have anything like that on television. We only had like 3 channels, and 2 of them sucked. So you had 3 channels, you had a lot of static, and Sunday night, and I think this was like one of those Sunday, Monday things, because it was a miniseries originally. Originally it was a miniseries, then it went to the final battle, which was a 6-hour miniseries, then it went to the series, which was, I think, just 1 season. It didn't go any longer than that. But the first time, when it first happened, and I know it doesn't look like much now, but then the special effects were like, wow, that's all real. Small, cheap TVs will mask a lot of inaccuracies. That's for sure.
Right, and let's also remind ourselves that these screens were not in any form of high definition.
No, and if they would have, we might have had a different response. So it probably worked to our benefit, because you got to look at the time. And it was a really, really smart take on the alien mythos that so many movies and other things had run rampant with. Instead of aliens are here to dominate or anything else, this was more of a subtle approach. It wasn't just a bunch of action scenes. This is how they got in, they steeped into our culture, they really blended in with us, and they got a foothold into society. And that's how they were able to ingrain themselves in everything. And the miniseries kind of ends on a cliffhanger, which was not done back then. So, I mean, it was done for television series, but it wasn't done for a miniseries. And that was, I thought, a phenomenal touch too, to leave us kind of, it's not resolved. There's more to come. Just blew me away as a kid. Can we talk about the alien thing? Did you guys know when you first watched it that it was going that way? Because I remember being absolutely astonished and almost mortified when the face came off, and I'm like, what? Oh, I didn't see that coming.
I can just see little Aaron going, what?
It's very much, yep.
If I was mortified or just completely shocked, it was before you see the faces come off, and that was when Diana eats a rat, or somebody eats a rat, and their mouth just, with the special effects, it just freakishly opens up past
when she was eating the
guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Yeah, and it was like, what just happened? So that was probably more of a shock. I mean, at that point, you obviously know something's not quite right with these people, and the green skin and the lizard reptilian bodies were just added on to that. But to me, it was the eating the hamster.
Yeah, the eating of the critters was what stuck out more to me. After that, it was like, okay, you can do whatever you want from here on out. I'll buy it. Whatever you got. They're purple, fine, they're purple. I was just happy that they weren't purple and that they were lizard people, because that made it even more sense. I completely bought it after the eating scene.
And true story, rewatching it for this, I'd still probably make out with Diana, no problem. Yep. Even after watching her, like with the guinea pig and her mouth gets all wide and eats that, knowing that she's a lizard, I'm still kind of into her, man.
Yeah, Jane Badler's not so bad. Mm-mm. She's easy on the eyes.
Well, I mean, she was a really strong female lead. That's kind of in the culture right now, but she was also hot in like a bad girl kind of way. She was like an Adrienne Barbeau light. Yeah, that's perfect right there. That nailed it. Did you guys also watch, John, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but did you guys also watch when the final battle came on, and that was the final battle, but then apparently it wasn't the final battle because we had a series we had to milk some more out of? Did you watch those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally watched the series. I didn't watch I didn't rewatch the series for this, but I did watch the miniseries and Final Battle again, because actually Final Battle is my favorite part of this. That's when they break out the awesome theme music for it. The special effects are slightly better, they really put more time and money into the final battle when I guess they realized, okay, we really have something here.
Yeah, I watched the series then. I haven't watched it recently though, but I did rewatch this for this podcast. And when the remake, reboot, whatever it was a couple years ago came out, I started watching that. I think I watched most of the first season, but definitely by the second season, it lost me. It was too much CGI sets.
Yeah.
It was just, you would have two people just standing there and you just knew everything else that was on the screen was really bad CGI, kind of like those overly done kids cartoons, the weird Transformers looking. I don't know if they're not anime or manga, but there's some weird style of cartoons that's been pretty popular recently. So it just looked a little too much. It was too distracting.
Right. I agree.
I love Final Battle. What I think, John, you were alluding to. Final Battle, I enjoy them probably more because it just feels like one big. We're moving. It's very quick. Plus, you have Michael Ironside, and he just lights up a room as soon as he gets there as Ham.
Or really darkens it, depending on your.
He shows up with resting Ironside face, and you just don't know what to do with yourself anymore.
He's not exactly known for feel good type stuff. Yeah, I see your point.
Well, my version of light is kind of dark, so he makes me happy. He brings the joy. He's a joy bringer to me. I got to talk to somebody. I probably should see someone. But when I love that Final Battle. I didn't like the series. I didn't think it was very good. But when the remake series that you were talking about, Brian, came out, I actually, it's big, and I'm a huge fan of this series. Huge fan of V. I've probably watched the miniseries and Final Battle at least 20 times each. I mean, I'm a huge fan of it. I did not like the reboot at all. I liked the pilot. I thought, okay, cool, yeah. Clever direction. And then the second episode completely lost me. And I can't remember even for the life of me why, but it just didn't feel like V to me.
No, you're absolutely right. It doesn't feel like V. They had such a great roadmap with this series, and all they had to do is really just build off of that roadmap. And I guess that's what we're going to do tonight. But if they would have followed that much closer, instead of trying to do this weird convoluted, let's do this, but then let's change it because of whatever reason. Jane Badler shows back up in that, and I still would. Yeah, it's weird.
You guys are both like, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we were just victims of very good marketing because they had a strong marketing push before the reboot thing showed up. They had that song from that band Muse that they kind of used as their theme song that really kind of flowed with some of the themes of the show. And Aaron, I really loved this show for years. I haven't watched it as often as you have, but it just kind of brought back a lot of those positive vibes and everything. And then you start watching it and you're just kind of like, this tastes funny. This ain't good.
Well, I think a lot of the rewatch was I grew up and we didn't have cable most of the time. So we just had the 3 channels and we taped the miniseries and the Final Battle. So I would just watch those a lot because they didn't have, many other things to watch. So it was more of, I got them on tape. I got them on these SP tapes or EP tapes, whatever the hell they were called. And got to make some use out of them. All right. Well, please subscribe and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use. If you have your own pitch or thoughts on this week's show, you can email them to remakeismovierright@gmail.com. Here's a clip from the original V.
Every continent will soon be under our complete domination. You must be pleased with that.
Well, let's just say that it pleases me to serve our leader with whatever minor talents I possess.
John told me that our leader's very pleased with your conversion process.
Yes, but you know how impatient our leader can be.
Even with you? I thought that, given the intimacy of your relationship with him, he might...
Be very careful, Stephen.
I just hate to see him make you so distressed.
Doesn't understand that my conversion process is still limited. Doesn't work the same on every human subject.
No, but when it does work, as with Duvivier, Jankowski, and the others, it's remarkable.
Yes, it is.
They actually believe that a conspiracy exists, or even that they're part of it.
And, of course, the evidence that we planted reinforces their beliefs.
The operation is working perfectly. Scientists are being ostracized, disorganized throughout the world.
The problem is, our leader then says, why not convert them all? He doesn't understand that the human will is much, much tougher than we bargained for. To convert them all would take forever. However, we will continue to refine the process.
Yes, I'm sure you will. Successfully.
Okay, you guys ready for some V trivia?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, but I got one quick question.
Sure.
Did you break the little tabs on those VHS tapes so you couldn't record over your V episodes?
Yeah, absolutely right. I did. Absolutely right. And there was always because every once in a while you'd get about 8 tapes in and you still, like, man, I got, there's an hour on here, but I already broke the tab off. So you got to get a piece of Scotch tape and cover it up just so you can record something. For a long time, I had the entire Night Court series that way on videotapes, and I was so many broken tabs. All right, well, so here's some trivia from V. The visitor symbol, this is a gimme almost. The visitor symbol is a modified swastika, obviously.
What? No.
Come on.
Shocker. In case you didn't catch it, this is a big allusion to Nazi and fascists all over the world. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of connected. That's what
The
they were
buildings with the big red flags that were draping down with the symbol on it.
The visitor youth camps. I mean, it was a little subtle. It was subtle.
Well, you had one guy, which I do want to say, the speech the Jewish man the older Jewish man tells to the family in the pool house. Tear. I had a tear. It still works for me. Still works.
Also, I think Keenan Ivory Wayans showed up and said, "Message."
All right. Well, the film cost $13 million back then, and the laser effects cost $1,000 each time it was used. The high cost was due to the lengthy post-production work by manually adding optical effects to the film, and that's why most of the resistance fighters used guns. It was expensive. Every time you get that was
the loudest lasers ever.
Right. My favorite is when a guy shoots one from the roof and they're on the ground and it sounds just like if he was hanging out right there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, that sound just doesn't really matter where you're at, right? The velocity's the same.
Just as loud here
superheated air.
That's right. Just as loud here as it is 50 yards away.
Well, the show was a monster hit. It captured 40% of the entire TV watching audience at that time. Some estimates say 80 million people watched each episode.
Well, again, when you're down to 4 channels, if you include public television, that's it's not hard to get a captivated audience.
Yeah, right. Remember that was back in the days when they would send the what do they call it? The Nielsen ratings. You would actually get them and you fill out a thing and you got $2 and you thought you were making money by contributing to the ratings.
If you had a remote control, you were upper middle class or rich. Most people had to get up and walk to the TV to turn the channel.
I was gonna say, I think the first remote control we had a wire connected to the TV.
So did mine.
I was the remote control for my parents.
Exactly. That's what kids did. I had one of those wire ones too, and you felt like you were fancy then.
You'd have to hit the HBO button for HBO, the 1 button for channel 1. Yeah.
Old school. Kids don't know how easy they got it. Now they're doing it on their phone. The back to the trivia. The leader's name is never revealed.
No, it's not.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. It is hinted that the visitors are engaged in a war with another alien species, but this idea is never mentioned after the series opener.
Huh.
Weird.
I caught that too. I was like, well, that's another storyline they could have gone with.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is kind of a sad one, but I found it's one of those things where you kind of have to mention it because it's fascinating. It's just it's a sad story. But the miniseries is dedicated to Dominique Dunne, a young actress who was originally cast to play Robin Maxwell. She was murdered by her ex-boyfriend during filming while rehearsing a scene at her home with David Packer, who plays Daniel. According to the DVD director's commentary by series creator Kenneth Johnson, Dunn appears in the scene in which the Maxwells and others watch the LA mothership glide in on the day the visitors first arrive. Her back is all that is seen. It's a really tragic story, but I think it's a really intriguing fact and one I thought worth sharing. Do you guys know that story? Did you hear that one before?
Nope.
No, it's completely new to me. But I remember who she was because she was in Poltergeist.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of people contribute this to as one of the poltergeist curses or some nonsense. All right, well, let's get back to what makes the movie so notable. So why do you guys love this movie? Why does it stand the test of time? Why do you think people still talk about it?
This show covers so many different subjects. It really kind of bonds everybody. There's an opponent that everybody, no matter where you come from, you can all root against the bad guy. Everybody, it's an alien. It's one of those things that kind of, binds everybody together. But this show, really kind of touched on a lot of different subjects that you really didn't come across back then. Topics like abortion, there was race, there was religion. I mean, all these things that were, I don't know if they were taboo or whatever, but they weren't broached on television very much. Plus the fact, and then of course there's also the fact that it was new. It was new for network TV. And gosh, and you have something that lasts 2 hours every night for a few nights, it's a pretty big event, and I guess a good timestamp for that era.
Oh yeah, it's totally 80s, but in a good way. It's like a good part of the 80s.
Yeah, it's definitely the 80s, but in a good way. It's not like the 80s where something was like it was goofy or told in a weird way. It was very much something in the lineage of Buck Rogers, something in the lineage of Battlestar Galactica, where it took its story seriously. And yeah, like Brian said, it's a unifying. It's something that unifies a planet against one solid thing. And what's the best thing to put them up against? But how about space Nazis that are lizards? Okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hates snakes and they hate Nazis. Why not combine the two?
Right. There are so many things to it. And it's funny because the messages. Okay, so for the 80s, the message is there, and it might have been subtle back then, but now they kind of hit you with a sledgehammer with it. But I think that message is still very compelling. It still means something, and I think it is an important story to tell, or at least an important message to try to get across, especially in times like now when we feel so divided lately.
Oh, absolutely. It preached tolerance, and in a good way. I mean, a good way, because people, I don't know if people realize it, but this miniseries, really, the characters are of a varying degrees of race and varying degrees of ethnicity, income, social status. And they all kind of come together because they all wanted the same thing, which is to stop this crazy regime. And this is true. I had only known about Nazis and Raiders of the Lost Ark to this point. Because, I was a little kid. I was a little kid that wasn't really taught yet. So I didn't know anything about it. This is the first time I got an indication as to what a Nazi party was really like. Because I remember when this came out, my mom said, "Oh, they're alluding to Nazis." And I'm like, "What? Like the Indiana Jones Nazis?" She's like, "No, like the real ones." I'm like, "Wait, those aren't real?" I didn't know.
So did people's faces really melt like that?
Yeah, I figured that's what happened when you open the Ark of the Covenant. That's why you don't do it. Leave it alone.
I didn't know that was a documentary.
And I remember when this came out, my mom said that we had those Encyclopedia Britannicas or whatever, like the big encyclopedias he used to have. And I would look it up because I didn't really know what it meant. This is the first time it really ingrained in me that this is a really horrible thing. It isn't just a movie trope. And I think that was kind of important. This taught me a history lesson in a way, or maybe research one, which was fascinating. My favorite thing, though, rewatching it, I was reminded what my favorite thing about this miniseries was, and that's Mark Singer's swagger.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is swinging his junk in and out of every frame and every step, so dramatically overdoing it. I loved every second of it. I mean, there's a scene where he's sneaking into the reporter's house, or sneaking in, and it's so dramatic. Like he's supposed to be sneaking in, but he's whipping his head around left and right, and he's throwing his body toward the ladder. It's just like, what are you doing? I love it.
In the final, in the last 20 minutes of the series, this miniseries, there's a little shootout in a hallway, and the sympathizer guy, he looks down the hallway, he sees the baddies, and he says, "Hey, he gives a signal, hey, there's 4 of them." And Julie and Donovan, they run across the hallway and take position on the other side, and he does this funny little, I don't know, swing of his arm, his pistol hand. He just kind of squats down, and his hand just does this like wax on, wax off move with the pistol, and you just expect like rainbows and glitter just to kind of come out of his hands as he's swinging this thing around, and then just it takes him about 5 seconds to do all this move, and you're like, man, you would be so dead. But it's just, it's like so much overacting, like, ha, pow, pow, pow. There's so much. So it just, I chuckled like crazy.
I couldn't help but be reminded of like, so sometimes he would swing that when he got his hands on one of their guns, he would swing the arm up in such a way and then have his free hand in a guard position over it. So not quite touching it, but just like in a weird guard position. So it looked cool as hell, but I'm like, you got that from Beastmaster when you were there. You were like, I'm just going to add that here.
It worked. I wasn't complaining. I liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
It would have been almost great if it was like, because like his he has this awesome smolder too. So like every time he was doing the smoldering into the camera thing, I'm thinking in my head, The Rock going, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
He looks like a really tan golden retriever.
What?
He does. He looks like a dog with it. Like a golden retriever, except he's really tan, and he wears his shirts buttoned really low.
Yeah, that was definitely
uncomfortably too low.
There's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't think it's that kind of show, man. But all right, you do you. Oh, and I love the rest of the cast. I think most of them are pretty well cast. I really like Michael Wright. He was in was it The Principal? Was it the Yes. Yep. And I love that movie, and he was in The Principal. So he's been in a lot of things that I like, and it was kind of cool seeing him pop up. I didn't forget that he was in it, but it's been so long since I've seen it that it hadn't hit me that he was also in The Principal. So that kind of made me want to go back and rewatch that one too. So a lot of 80s coursing through my veins watching this thing. Anything else that you guys loved about? We talked about Jane Badler, but I don't know if we can really state how great a villain she was. I mean, and they still talk to her about her to this day in science fiction circles as one of the greatest.
She was a great villain, and I think I can blame her for a lot of my problems with women over the years because I'm always looking for the bad girl because of her.
Please explain deeper.
I don't think we want that, Brian. I really don't.
No, we don't really want that. I barely want that. So
this is one of those miniseries that the cast was so influential to me as a TV watcher, I guess, that I followed them to all kinds of stuff. Like Jane Badler did a show called The Highwayman with, I think it was Sam Jones or something, or Jackie or Jacko or something. Remember that?
God, yeah.
I remember it loosely. I never actually got around to seeing that one.
I just followed them doing everything. It didn't matter what they did. I was watching it. It was weird. So what doesn't work for you anymore? Watching this, John, what no longer works?
Well, it's kind of unfair to point it out, but the special effects no longer work. Like there's actually something really cool about the visitors and the technology they bring with them, which is even for the 80s, it feels like it's just out of reach for the 80s. It's almost like it was 2017 invading 1980 is what it almost seems like to me, as far as like the differences in technology. And moving on to what doesn't work, like the special effects clearly don't work, except for the makeup. The makeup still amazingly works, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not blowing the doors off or anything, but I think the makeup outside of I don't think the guinea pig scene works as much anymore because you can just tell that's not real at all.
Right.
But everything else I think works. The lizard works because it's shot quick and tight. So, even though that face obviously does not do much, the
lizard baby didn't work very well.
No, but that was in Final Battle too. You know what doesn't work? I'll tell you what doesn't work. Freaking the stupid girl. What was her? Robin. Robin doesn't work. That whole storyline about Robin kills me. Like every time her parents and her family are basically on the run. And she's constantly like, alien boy, let's just throw myself out there so I can pine over alien boy and get my family all in trouble.
Well, yeah. And then on top of that, speaking of the lizard baby, all of a sudden this kid that she has within a matter of whatever. It seemed like hours. I don't know. It might have been days or weeks or months. I don't know. But apparently they were all surprised that this went from an infant all the way to a toddler, preteen kid, and who is, I don't know, trying to spit venom on other kids and everything. And then all of a sudden the kid is up in the spaceship and stops growing. You would think at that rate this kid would have been 85 years old after about 3 weeks.
Brian, this is what we call Deus Ex Machina. Right. They needed something to stop that doomsday button from happening. That's all. That's what that was.
That's why they had to make an alien, half human, half alien Jedi that can do it.
We're just going to make her glow and throw all sorts of filtered laser effects on top of her, and that we've never seen before.
Right. She's
a star child.
Look, the priest took her up there. She's clearly a messiah.
That was the thing that I probably had, but that's in the final battle. It's not really part of this one, but I never really liked that the priest took the girl up there. I mean, that's A, it's kidnapping, and B, you already know they're bad, so you're just delivering this kid, and I get his kind of logic, but I would punch him in the face if I was any of them.
What was weird about that whole thing with the priest is that he spends when we first meet him, he's kind of a badass. He's like, here, let me just start shooting fools because I can. And let me tell you the story about how I killed some people in South Africa to protect a family in my church. And then he becomes the guy who's like, look, I have a messiah to bring to you and we could all be together and it could really work. That doesn't add up.
I agree. Back to your Robin Maxwell thing, that bugged me as well. I really liked Daniel because he played that son of a bitch kind of character great, I think. Like, he had just the right amount of, I want to just kick him in the junk. And
yeah, he makes you want to talk to the TV going, what are you doing, man? Just stop. Just stop what you're doing.
But we all knew guys in high school that were like that. We did. We absolutely did. Watch this. I'm like, yeah, I can name like 5 people that would totally be this kid.
Yeah.
Sadly, probably a few that could be Robin Maxwell too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Robin Maxwell was if I were to be reminded of anybody else who made me nearly as crazy, it would be Kiefer Sutherland's character's daughter in 24. Somebody else, it's like, you have no business being there. What are you doing? Why are you so stupid? Just leave her. Just leave her. She's 17. She's lived her life. It's okay.
I don't know if either of you guys caught this, but kind of putting the two together, Daniel and Robin. In the first episode there's a scene they're sitting on the lawn talking, just chit-chatting. The sprinklers are on.
Yes.
Did y'all pick up on that? There's sprinklers surrounding them. There's literally 6 sprinklers covering up every other inch of the screen except for them two, and neither one of them are getting a drop.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing it because I thought there was something wrong with my DVD because there's all this water in there. I'm like, why is there so much water in the frame? Oh, they're by sprinklers. That's weird.
You know what it is? That's the foreshadowing that she's the mother of the Messiah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
That's the glitter. That's where the glitter was, right there. Bam.
Yep.
We found
right
glitter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really think that's all that doesn't work for me. I really enjoyed the score. I enjoyed the score, like John said, the theme in the final battle where they really kick it up a notch is great. Where it's like doom 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 bum 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 boom boom boom. You know, I love that. I love that theme.
Ding 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 ding. It's stuck in my head all week long.
Yeah. I love both themes. I really dig. So the music I don't have a problem with. I still enjoy it, even the effects don't work. I still enjoy it. So should this movie even be remade, or should it be placed in don't touch status, Brian?
Yeah, this is totally grounds to be remade.
Yeah,
remade, redone, expanded, built on, you name it. I mean,
let's do a whole Game of Thrones style show off of this. Yeah, let's do it.
Lizard dragons? What? I mean, I guess I could. Yeah.
In the sense of like Game of Thrones, nobody's safe. I think you can do that very smartly with this show. You can turn it into something where nobody's safe. The 100 does it very well too. Nobody's really safe except for maybe 1 or 2 characters. You can do that easily with this, and it will still be just as compelling. And you can open it back up to do the same kind of messaging. I mean, yeah, let's do it. Let's remake it.
Yeah, I think it can be done, and especially if you can find an actor with that kind of Mark Singer swagger. That's really, really what any remake needs, is some guy lunging his body randomly throughout scenes. Just flipping around like Ace Ventura as he walks in a room. I would love that. Love that. All right, well, here's another clip of V.
Stanley, you don't understand. They have to stay. They need a place to hide.
And why is that?
Because the father is a scientist.
And therefore suspect. And a fugitive, I take it, which would make them doubly dangerous.
They have to stay.
And I'm telling you to get them out of here before
I won't.
Then I will.
No, you won't. We had to put you in a suitcase. In a suitcase. You were 8 months old. That's how we smuggled you out.
I know the story, Father.
No, you don't. You don't. Your mother, Avshalom. Your mother didn't have a heart attack in the boxcar. She made it with me to the camp. I can still see her standing naked in the freezing cold. Her beautiful black hair was gone. They'd shaved her head. I can still see her waving to me as they marched her off with the others to the showers. The showers with no water. Perhaps if somebody had given us a place to hide. Don't you see, Stanley? They have to stay. Or else we haven't learned a thing.
Okay, well, now we're on to the remake. Here's what we know about the intended remake currently in the works. V is set to become a movie franchise, as Desilu Studios have announced plans to remake the story as an epic tale for theaters and a brand new trilogy of films. In a surprise statement, the studio has teamed up with the creator of the original show, Kenneth Johnson, because he actually, little known fact, he retains movie rights to V. He doesn't have the television rights, but he has movie rights to V. So they're teaming with Kenneth Johnson to pull a big budget movie together and reboot the brand. The show was recently remade by ABC, but this is intended to be a whole new take on the premise.
Sweet.
Well, since this is getting a remake, and as fans, we always think we know the best way to do everything, how should Hollywood remake it? We're going to basically each have our pitch for what this should be, and then we're going to come together and create a perfect, cohesive film. All debates are settled by a best of 3 votes. So we each vote, and whatever wins, with each host receiving 1 cut per episode to be used whenever they are extremely passionate about an idea, not as a joke, and they can't use it for the entire movie. It's just like one particular item of that movie. Everybody understand these rules?
Roger that.
10-4.
All right. Well, who wants to give their pitch first of what they want to do with V? And then once we all 3 go, we'll figure out which direction we want to go.
All right, so we have the same basic premise. All right, the aliens, they visit Earth, they act friendly and everything, but instead of reptiles, they are futuristic versions of us, made through a whole lot of millennia, so thousands of years of kind of crossbreeding with different DNA. They've been experimenting for all these years, taking the best benefits of all these different animals throughout time, and to fix us, to make us better humans, which had some benefits for a while. However, over these times, and evolution kicks in and all this other stuff, they're basically killing themselves. So what they're doing is they have come back in time to steal us. They're taking us just like they did in the series. However, they're not eating us. They are taking us to have pure DNA. So they're kind of harvesting us, kind of like maybe like a steel mill. You just throw in a bunch of scrap metal and everything, and you smelt it down and you make something else from it. It's kind of what they're doing with us. They're not eating us, but they are using us to get that good DNA again so they can kind of keep their race going.
Okay. So there's time travel involved?
Time travel is involved. So whenever their true form is revealed, it leaves this option, it leaves just literally thousands of options available so that you could have a combination of dozens of different animals, insects, you name it. You could have antennae, you could have attributes from cockroaches or sharks or reptiles or whatever you can imagine. So all these, like I said, but all this time they've been just kind of crossbreeding. And unfortunately, they've kind of crossbred them, kind of painted themselves into a genetic corner, so to speak. And so they're having to come back and say, you know what? We need to restart this. Let's get some of the good pure DNA back into our system so that we can keep surviving. Otherwise, we've just pretty much wiped our own selves out. So that gives you the little bit of understanding that these people are actually just, sure, they're bad, they're evil, they have bad intentions for us. However, they are trying to save their own people.
All right. That's Brian's idea. We'll come back to those in a minute. John, what's yours?
Well, my idea is to stick to to more or less the same basic roadmap that the series gave us. It's an alien race. They're from a different planet, and lizard, insect, whatever. And I do want to keep it where it feels like they're only maybe a few hundred years ahead of us, just enough ahead of us that they are able to do space travel. So nothing like they're so far ahead of us that it feels different. I don't want it to feel like they're physically more capable than we are, anything like that, because that's what I think the show did very well. It's that we were dealing with more or less us, only a few 100 years better than us or fast ahead of us, and then they're more same strengths and all that. So I want that still be the same feeling. What I do want to do is, so they started off this thing where they're going after scientists, and sure, the overarching story as to why is because, well, scientists were kind of figuring out what they were doing before anybody else was. But you have a character like Robert Maxwell in this show who's an anthropologist, and let's be honest, there's no reason why these technological aliens who are stealing our resources should be worried about an anthropologist. So let's give them a reason. So when we first meet Robert Maxwell, he is at a dig site, and him and his crew are uncovering a set of skeletons and bones of a campsite for early man someplace. And that's what it is in the TV show. Well, what I would like to do is actually expand on that to the point where he actually discovers an early settlement of visitors. Well, the few remains of visitors and a few remains of humans, and he can kind of determine the story of what happened there based off of these remains. With me so far?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and he's the reason why it kicks off this whole let's hunt down the scientists thing, because not only is that he find the story and he starts opening up the floor to possibility. It's possible these guys aren't here for us or good for us, or actually they can even layer it to the point where, well, these guys look like us, but these guys that I found the skeletons of look like lizards, so I don't know what to do. It's a whole thing where I just think that I'm just throwing out theories and layers of ideas really on it, but I do want to just really keep it like. I do want it to be space Nazis that are going after us. Let's keep that. Let's keep the same idea. I just really want the same thing, only done better.
Okay. So my pitch, I've got a story idea. Mike Donovan, pulling from the original. Mike Donovan's a respected news anchor. He's not a cameraman. He's a news anchor. Ships arrive. Visitors offer to help. Our leaders immediately work with them. Donovan hears from a source, one we later learn is a Fifth Column member, that these visitors are not new to this planet. In fact, many of our leaders are visitors or sympathizers already willing to barter for power. So his source basically says that they will begin discrediting scientists to ensure their survival, and Donovan doesn't believe him. It's too crazy of a story, because basically he's telling him they've actually been setting this up for a while. They've already ingrained into our power structure, into society, into culture, so that when they arrive, they can do a slow takeover of the planet. Then he begins seeing stories at his station, taking shots at scientific credibility. He questions these, and he is immediately reprimanded. So while doing a story, while he's aboard the mothership, he sneaks into ventilation and learns a secret, kind of like what happens in the original. But this time he does air the story. The story makes the air. And immediately leaders and social media pioneers around the world debunk and discredit him, completely ruining his career, because they've already been ingrained in our society. They're already there waiting for, in case this happens, we have resources to discredit him and annihilate him without having to kill him. Juliet Parrish is a disgraced scientist, one of those disgraced scientists, and she finds Donovan after she sees what he aired, and they begin to build the resistance. They create a dark website that affords communication around the world. They begin attacks on visitors where they are shown in reptile state and conducting experiments, and they release these via social media. So to me, this would be a trilogy. The first movie would be about getting the information out there. The second will be about making a substantial hit on their movement and bringing them down. And the third movie would be on going to their home planet and taking the fight to them. That's what I have.
Ooh. You know what I think would be cool is that if we also found a way to incorporate the fact that their planet is being embattled at the moment with that other race.
Yeah, I think there is a way to combine all of. I was thinking while Brian was talking, while you were talking, because I already knew what my idea was, obviously, of a way to incorporate all three into something seamless, and I think it can be done pretty easy. I think you take Brian's story, get rid of the time travel, because I think that doesn't feel like V to me. That feels like it feels like Wayward Pines a little bit, if you saw that one.
Feels like Fringe to me. Yeah,
there you go. But I like the idea. I just don't know if it works for V personally. That's my opinion.
So you want to remake a They Live?
No. Well,
or the Arrival with Charlie Sheen.
I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it. Yeah, but no. See, it's not
Let's be honest.
No, because it's not like that. Because it's not. It's still the same concept of V, except they had actually set up a plan. They had a layered plan. The idea was they have people involved in the infrastructure. So when the ships arrive, because the ships do arrive, it happens just like that. But the leaders are more apt to involve them and invite them into leadership positions immediately because they already have people on the ground that are set up for that. So it makes it easier to acclimate to society. Instead of people being petrified, they have people that have already been planted to help them adapt quickly to our world. Because you know how everything is. People believe whatever social media tells them or whatever our leaders tell them. So as soon as you have people saying that this is, hey, they're trustworthy, they're good.
Sure, I get it.
Okay.
Actually, that helps with when with my aspect of really showing what Robert Maxwell discovers by emphasizing the fact that they might have been here the entire time.
Right. And I got sidetracked because I went on my little tangent. So to bring them all together, you take Brian's idea of them being there, but you take what John wants, what I want, and you mix it with what Brian wants. So they are still aliens. They're from a distant planet, but reachable. I mean, with their technology, they're just advanced enough that they can accomplish space travel. But they, what we could have them do is they are still aliens, but they have done the same thing that Brian is talking about because they are actually from this planet, which leads to Robert Maxwell. They actually left this planet many, many thousands or millions of years ago, whatever, to go to another planet to populate it. And our planet regrew. They thought our planet was dying, but it blossomed. It ended up coming back to life, basically, because we left. And so they go and they rebuild this planet, and now they have been doing what Brian suggested, where they're using multiple DNAs to try to, what did you call it? Genetically engineered themselves out of existence or something like that. I mean,
painted themselves in a corner.
Yes, there you go. So they're dying. They need a more pure specimen to save them from something. Maybe there's something they need. They need humans, pure human DNA, to come back because they've gone so far from it. That way you can have multiple creatures, but they can still dress like people. They're still humanoid or whatever. But Robert Maxwell's discovery, like John was talking about, ties in with Mike Donovan, and Juliet, so they can they can come together with Robert Maxwell as he shows them, here's who these people really are, and that can lead them to a path to find a solution to their problem, how they can get rid of them and prove that they are bad. Like they are actually us, but they left millions of years ago, and they're coming back to take us so they can save themselves. They're basically coming back to steal humans to save themselves and resources to save themselves. That's my way of connecting all the dots. You tell me if that works or doesn't work.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, processing here. I've got the little circle thing.
You're buffering?
Round and round. I'm buffering.
The pinwheel of death is what he's working with. So how about thousands of years ago, they didn't necessarily leave, but they were harvested by the forces that they're embattled with now, and they've essentially won that war, but have ruined everything they were working with where that happened. So they came back here to harvest more. Make sense?
Maybe they were harvested off of our planet, became their own resistance. Like you say, they won. Now they're the big bully on the block, and they come back here for some reason.
Right. They come back here for resources and for DNA or for whatever else, and then they become exactly what they were fighting against.
I might can sign on with that.
And I think then you can have everybody's story idea mixed together, right? Because you could have Donovan working with...
Not really, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
It works, but it works. I mean, it's about finding something that works. That's the thing here. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
This is the writer's room. This is it's finding something that works. Y'all's fault that y'all can't get on with my idea, but hey, it's okay. Ain't nobody bitter.
I like your idea. I just don't think it didn't feel like...
Don't you patronize me.
You have a very wonderful idea. You have the greatest idea that's ever been made.
It's
all right.
Probably one of the best ideas I've ever heard.
I'm feeling much better.
But you still get your damn cross-pollinated the DNA has been like cross-referenced, because for whatever reason, they've been trying to perfect their race for years, and now they need that human DNA again to salvage them for some reason. Yes, no, maybe so? No? What was
we got a good idea. That's what matters.
What was it, John? Because I forgot what your idea was to make it all work. What was it?
The visitors were originally some of us. They were us that were harvested thousands of years ago by the alien race that they were embattled with. That they mentioned they were embattled with and have decimated their own planet or their new own planet with, and have come back to harvest resources and us to help.
The Mongolians.
Right.
Mongoose and snakes, they don't get along very well.
Gotcha. Look at that. This guy's like a Nature World special.
He's just got this Discovery Channel going on in the TV in front of him right now.
It's like, guess what I just learned, kids?
Hey, it's Meerkat Castle time. All right.
Now, how do you guys?
It's an Okapi and Platypus comedy hour.
How do you guys feel about? Do you want it to be more of an ensemble kind of thing? I mean, you can have the same characters, Mike Donovan, Juliette Walsh, Robert Maxwell, and whatnot, but do you want them maybe as almost like maybe once the Resistance is built, they are expendable, or do you want them to still be the people that would carry on the movie till the end?
I think carrying it on for at least a good chunk of the show, maybe not the full beginning to end, but I would like to see an ensemble.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see an ensemble too, because it's one of the things that made the show work so well, especially when the final battle started happening, and especially when you had Ironside show up. You had just so many great personalities bouncing off each other that an ensemble with that same caliber of thinking into what kind of personalities you want would be great. I mean, it could be just something as wonderful as Star Wars or Star Trek with these awesome ensemble casts.
Okay. Ensemble it is. The twos gets it. All right. So with that, I think we have a movie. It'll have to, once you get the trailer form, it'll make more sense, but we have a movie.
Right.
All right. We all agree on that we have a movie?
Yeah.
I agree.
Brian is so reluctant.
Something's there.
Brian is being so non-committal at the moment.
Do you still want the Nazi-esque theme? As in, when the visitors, when they do come back, it's very much in that vein?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Oh, boy.
Really?
No?
I mean, what about something? Okay, granted, they are an advanced civilization, but if we're going with a previous civilization, I mean, isn't the kind of the Nazi feel a little overdone? What's another bad civilization throughout history?
Egyptians?
The French?
The Mongolians? They come down with a bunch of fur and just raw.
What?
Yeah.
Back to Nazi.
Yeah, like even Star Wars did Nazis. Let's just stick with Nazis.
All right. I'm with John. If we had maybe a solid solution as opposed to coming down with fur and going rah.
Like the Mongolians were done in Star Trek, and those were the Klingons, and it might have worked, but I mean, do we really need Klingon Nazi? It's starting to sound good.
All right,
I'm kidding.
Okay, so who should direct this movie? And are we doing a movie or a trilogy, or what are we doing? Are we just making one movie and we'll see where it goes? What are we doing? What's the plan? My plan was a trilogy. It doesn't mean it had to be a trilogy. What do you guys want to do?
I would say trilogy, because at least that way there would be a way to fit in some of the great elements from Final Battle. Besides the two TV movies, there's so much going on that I think is necessary, and it should be something that's not afraid to take its time.
Yeah, I say we do a trilogy, and we're talking Lord of the Rings style time. I mean, time-wise, we're talking theater release. You're looking at 2.5 to 2:45 runtime. DVD release, you're looking at the extended editions that go about 3:15, maybe 3.5.
I can get behind this.
I'd watch it. Yep, I'd watch the hell out of it.
But we're talking huge scope. We're talking generations. We're talking, we're talking past, we're talking current, we're talking other planets, we're talking other interplanetary races and battles, and ensemble cast, and we got a whole lot of stuff to cover, and we need a whole lot of time to do it.
All right, sounds good. So who will direct it? Who's the best director? I actually threw in Michael Bay. That's my pick. I said Michael Bay. I don't know why.
Really?
I did. Yeah, I did.
I said Cameron, but it was kind of like, I didn't like saying that.
I have two ideas. I'm gonna throw out my number one first, which is Dan Trachtenberg.
What's he done?
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
All right. Who's the other one?
The alternative I went with was actually Joon-ho Bong. He did Snowpiercer.
Yeah, that's a good choice. My other choice was just to be funny, which would have been Roland Emmerich.
He did it already. My other one was Alex Garland. It was Michael Bay or Alex Garland. It's like pick which. Do you want a really intelligent director or do you want a crazy action director? And that's so. I like what's his name? I am not going to try and say it for Snowpiercer.
Joon-ho Bong.
I'm going with him.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him too.
You know what? Let's make it global appeal. You know what I'm saying? Let's make a real.
There you go.
Yeah. We can't just cover just LA. we need more. We need more cities. So I think you do got to throw in some. Maybe you can have some of these characters spread out throughout the country or world to some degree.
Absolutely. You have locations all over, like Africa, Asia, Australia. We got it. I mean, we got this covered. Absolutely.
All right. Now, based on our remake, we recast at least 2 leads. So who do you guys want? You can pick anyone. There's Robert Maxwell, Mike Donovan, Juliette Walsh. Who do you want to recast? Diana? I assume we're still going to have Diana as the villain, because I assume that would be kind of against V to not have Diana be the lead villain, right?
Yeah,
right.
It would be kind of against V to not have her, but I think we should play her just like she was played in the series, which was she was the villain behind the villain.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so who do you want to recast? Do you have anybody in mind for any of the roles?
My question for Mike Donovan is: are we going to make him kind of an action-y kind of guy like he was in this, or are we going to make him more like an everyday kind of guy?
How do you feel about it?
The only one I can honestly
there is no wrong answer, John.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Unless we do weird time traveling aliens. So
he just threw some gauntlets at you, brother.
It's all right. I've still got a cut up my sleeve.
All right. So the only person I could think of that has the kind of swagger that Mark Singer, was that his name again?
Yep.
Yes. The only person that has that kind of swagger and can pull it off in the exact same way and still look just as cool would have to be The Rock.
I've got somebody else in mind for that.
Yeah, I just so basically we've just established that John just wants it just done all over again, and you haven't put any thought into this at all, have you?
He's throwing it back.
We went with the biggest star in the freaking universe.
Hey, I want to sell tickets.
That's funny. All right, you want to hear my pick for Mike Donovan?
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Now I want to point out this comes from watching Mark Singer bounce around like Ace Ventura walking into a room. Okay. I'm watching. I'm like, who is a modern actor that has that kind of swagger, but actually is far more entertaining to me? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Just tone down the bouncing a little bit, play it more straight. He's got some credibility. If you've seen his other acting, he can put on a little bit of weight because toughen him. He's a little light right now. But
light.
Yeah, he's a little thin, a little scrawny. Like if you go back and watch Watchmen, he's a lot bulkier. Get him somewhere in the middle.
He looks pretty solid on the Walking Dead, but all right.
Brian, who's your choice?
I'm going with a guy that's Sullivan Stapleton. He's on the show Blind Spot. Is it NBC? Is that the name of it?
Okay, I don't know him.
He was the main guy in the 300 sequel. That was garbage. But he's got the physicality.
That's a selling point over The Rock.
Well, that's why I led with Blind Spot was, because 300 sequel is not exactly the best example, but it's the one that I figured you guys might know more off the top of your head. He's got swag. If you watch Strike Back, he's on that show. He's got tons of swag, and he's athletic. He's younger than Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so.
Yeah, and I'm looking at pictures of him, and he looks like he could be a TV anchor.
Right. But he's, like I said, he's got some machismo.
He does. I like that better than Aaron's choice, and it's almost as good as my choice.
You know what? I don't know the actor, and everybody else has kind of been there, done that. So yeah, let's go with him. I'll side with Brian on that one. I trust him. He knows what he's talking about.
All right.
I did come up with a second choice because you did mention the whole like Ace Ventura moving around thing.
Okay.
All right. So Eric Christian Olsen.
No.
Come on.
No. Brian wins.
Not as a lead. You could have him as one of the replacing Robert Englund or something like that. You could have him doing that. But
yeah, how do we get this far and not mention Robert Englund? Freddy Krueger was in the original V. How do we get that far and not even mention that? But shame on us.
I still equate him with this role just as much as I do Freddy Krueger.
Me too.
Yeah. Although we couldn't be bothered to bring him up, but I think it's all Mark Singer and Diana's fault.
Well, I mean, to be fair, his role was very minor in this. I mean, it's only the only reason that it's so talked about these days would be because he became Freddy Krueger.
Right.
And then people were like, really? That was Freddy Krueger? He was so goofy and innocent. Da, 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 da. Yeah, and then he killed a bunch of people. This is actually Freddy Krueger's origin story.
Right.
Okay, well, I think, what's the guy's name, Brian? What's his name?
Sullivan Stapleton.
Stapleton. He moves on. All right. Anybody else? I had Evangeline Lilly for Juliet Walsh.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All
yes.
Right. Anybody for your Robert Maxwell or Diana? Either one?
Going out on a limb here for Diana.
Okay.
Somebody not really known for their evil doing ways, their evil personas, that dark vibe. Meryl Streep.
No.
Meryl Streep?
Meryl. She's not done any kind of
villain. I mean, yeah. She doesn't.
She's not really
wears Prada, sort of.
Mm-hmm. I'm in. I'm sold, man. I mean,
all right.
She's got enough. That would be
gravitas.
Kind of gravitas, and that would be a little bit of a shock to see her as a villain. And I think she would own every scene. So yeah, I'm in it.
All right, I'm outnumbered, so I'll take it.
You want that person to kind of like draw your attention to, like, say the woman behind the woman or the man or whoever. Yep. So she's got that gravitas.
So if we're gonna bring Michael Ironside's character into this, because we're doing 3 movies, might as well, right?
Okay. I mean, now you're just sure. It's an ensemble. It's an ensemble.
It's an ensemble, and I'm trying to remember his name because it's just completely final. Oh, okay. So Ham Tyler. Okay, so Ham Tyler. This is where I'll give you Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Okay.
Take
it. Because you need somebody who can do resting Michael Ironside face, and I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan can do resting Michael Ironside face.
I'll sign off on that.
All right, we got us a cast. We got a guy for the movie, the second movie or whatever it is, but he's part of the ensemble. He's part of the Resistance. He'll come up.
Yeah.
All right. Any nostalgic moments as we wrap this part up? Any nostalgic moments that you guys definitely have to have in here to remind you of the original?
The ripping off of the faces.
Mm-hmm. The exposing the lizard face, you mean?
Yep. The ripping off of the faces. What else? Eating
the guinea pig or something. Something as unnerving.
How about the Star Wars adjacent song?
No, I never want to hear that again.
Yeah, same.
I will if I watch this again, which I probably will. I bought it on Amazon, so I will fast forward through that scene.
I want a Freddy Krueger poster in somebody's room at some point. Nightmare on Elm Street poster.
That would be a good call.
And maybe even Beastmaster too.
Since they'll have, what did you say, the Beastmaster too?
Yeah, and maybe even Beastmaster too. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Since somebody is crazy enough to have a Freddy Krueger poster on their wall, chances are they probably like Beastmaster also. So
it has to be some computer hacker nerd that they have to go to help set up the whole internet network for the Resistance.
Yes,
to hook up their iMac to the computer to down the spaceships. Oh, that's been done too.
They go maybe to connect to a dark web or some other site so that they can reach people on the other side of the planet. They can reach the other people in the other cities. There you go. You need that computer guy for that.
Right.
And he would have that stuff. And he would also have a Splinter Cell game laying around. So then, bam, you got all the Easter eggs in one room. Michael Ironside voiced Sam Fisher, in case you didn't know. Oh, that one's too far for you? I didn't say you had to be playing it.
That's a bit.
Just have the case.
That's like that Easter egg that somebody climbed up 40 feet in a tree to hide.
All right,
I appreciate your depth with that. I do appreciate that. However, I don't know if that's an Easter egg that.
How about a whole thing where we are trying to smuggle scientists to safety, and we're using gardeners to do that.
I feel like that just became racist. I don't know why, but
what? It happened how is it racist? It happened in the movie.
So a couple of the scientists that we see being shuffled off is Neil deGrasse Tyson and that Michio Kaku, whatever his name is, Kukio.
Yes. Sure. Absolutely. Oh man. Okay. All right. I think we got enough.
Before this spirals out of control.
Yeah.
Before. Too late.
Here's a question I do want to ask before we head out, though. Because of the success of Independence Day, most people, or not most people, but a lot of people, especially younger people, are going to equate the giant cylinder-shaped spaceships as being from Independence Day when they're actually from V. So do you still have the ships the same? Do you have them the same way, or do you have new ships? That's a question I think it's important.
I think the ships are such an iconic piece of the whole show that not only do you keep you keep the ships the way they were, but you give Independence Day the finger and have them enter the atmosphere the exact same way Independence Day did it.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I don't have a design in mind to really put up much of a fight here. So I would like to see just something different.
Tweak it. Just tweak it a little.
Add
some character, put some stank on it.
How about shaped like a battleship, like that old Japanese cartoon?
Ooh. Never mind. I like that idea better.
Lord.
Star
Blazers. Blazers. Yeah.
Yeah. Star Blazers. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I am physically excited over this.
All right. Well, now we got one more clip from V.
Listen, Mike, we're going to get you out of here.
You what?
It's very dangerous, but not more dangerous than what would happen if you stayed.
You just tried to talk her into converting me, and you expect me to believe you?
It's prime time, you idiot. I'm sorry, Mike. Look, some of us, a very few of us, just don't believe in what our leader's doing, or his plans.
What are his plans?
I don't have time to tell you now. I've got to get you out.
With Tony. It's impossible. Then I'm staying.
Mike.
I'm not leaving without him.
Mike, it's too late for Tony.
What the hell they do to him? Be quiet. That damn dragon lady can bend people's minds around. What the hell does she need a blowtorch for?
Conversion is a very difficult and time-consuming operation. Diana simply needs some information. She'll do whatever's most effective and efficient. And she likes to do it.
God Almighty. Help us.
Okay, we came out of that. They're still laughing. That's how funny that was.
We come in peace. Never mind the 40 giant cannons we have on the front of our spaceship.
It was a spaceship Yamada, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the answer is probably no. You scared the crap out of me with this. All right, but now we have a movie to sell you. Now we've rambled a lot. We've been all over the map trying to get this thing together because we all have different ideas of what V should be. This is where Wayne Henderson, courtesy of MediaVoiceovers.com, is going to put it all together for you in a nicely packaged movie parody trailer. Take it away, Wayne. Tell us about V.
An historic, unprecedented event has occurred. Humongous spaceships have gathered around the globe's most populated cities. The existence of extraterrestrial life has now been confirmed. What do they want? Assimilation begins as the visitors are welcomed with open arms across the planet. If we promise to assist them with supplying Earth's resources, they agree to share their futuristic technology and health advances with our world. With the visitors now part of our very infrastructure, paleontologist Robert Maxwell makes a shocking discovery. The visitors have a striking resemblance to a former life on this very planet. With the help of disgraced reporter Mike Donovan, they learn the truth. Many thousands of years ago, these visitors were taken from Earth and enslaved by an alien species, rose up and took command of this distant planet. Now, after centuries of genetic manipulation and splicing, these visitors have returned to capture the purest DNA strand remaining in the universe, sacrificing our lives to save themselves. Maxwell and Donovan join with resistance leaders Juliet Walsh and Ham Taylor to hatch a plan to warn the planet of the visitors' goal, if the visitors' commander Diana does not kill them in the process. It could happen. Can ordinary humans rise up against a totalitarian government? Find out next summer as director Joon-ho Bong modernizes a childhood classic. They claimed to come in peace, but they came for us. V.
All right, yes.
Yes.
I'm glad he made sense of all that. Thank the Lord.
It sounded so much better the way he did it.
Now it's time to wrap this show up. I do want to say one more time, Wayne Henderson, MediaVoiceovers.com. If you need a voiceover artist, he is the best in the biz. John, where can people find you?
You know what? The best thing to do is just search for rjohn.draws in most of your social media packages, and you'll find me there. rjohn Davenport Draws on YouTube. You can see some videos of me doing all sorts of different crazy stuff. And then on the Instagram, rjohn.draws.
All right, Brian, where can people find you at on the Twitters or whatever?
Yeah, Brian, Brian, WMS. Yeah, that's about it. Or Brian at The Hollywood Outsider.
There you go. You can hear him on a couple. He was on the South by Southwest episode on the Hollywood Outsider. That was a lot of fun. So you should check that out. You can find me on this podcast, The Hollywood Outsider, or Smirk, any one of those. And as well as if you follow The Blacklist or Westworld, you can hear me pop up on those shows, Beyond Westworld and The Blacklist Exposed. You can subscribe and review us here via Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, or on Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. And our email is remakeismovie@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at Remake Right, and there's a Remake This Movie Right Facebook group. Guys, thanks for doing this with me. V, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
This was great. I thank you for inviting me on for this. I think I watch V every couple of years without fail.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Same here. This kind of rekindled my love for this. Actually, it's one of those things to where I really didn't realize how much I enjoyed this show until I started rewatching it, and was just thoroughly surprised at how well the whole series as a whole just still holds up after 35 years.
Yeah, 35 years and made for TV. It still holds up pretty well. That's saying something.
Better than just about everything that's ever aired on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Right.
True story. True story. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. This is one of my favorites, so I would love to see this movie get made. The credits have rolled on this remake, but be sure to come back for our next one. And remember that every film you love will get a reboot someday, and only you can remake this movie right.